Welcome to Clocking In, Voices of NC Manufacturing. I'm your host, Phil Mintz, Director of the North Carolina Manufacturing Extension Partnership, otherwise known as NCMEP. My role is to drive outreach to NC manufacturers, build relationships to federal and state leaders, and coordinate efforts to drive profitable manufacturing growth in North Carolina. Throughout my time working closely with manufacturers, I have heard the most quirky, curious, and memorable stories. I wanted to turn these stories into a podcast so that others may hear and be informed and inspired. From humble beginnings to manufacturing titans, from tragedy to triumph, I will be interviewing some of these manufacturers who have made North Carolina manufacturing the powerhouse that it is today. With its roots in hosiery and furniture development and testing, the Manufacturing Solutions Center is part of Catawba Valley Community College in Hickory, North Carolina. They're working to have a positive economic impact on their community, the region, and the entire country. The organization works with traditional manufacturers as well as with manufacturing startups, helping to provide solutions to problems and to move companies forward. The mission of the Manufacturing Solutions Center is to help U.S. manufacturers develop and grow their business. Over the last 10 years, MSC has served over 3,200 customers nationwide and has helped create or retain 234 jobs, generated $24 million in sales, and $1.3 million in cost savings. The Manufacturing Solutions Center is a longtime program member of the North Carolina Manufacturing Extension Partnership, or NCMEP network. Talking today with the director of the North Carolina Manufacturing Solutions Center, Jeff Newville. Jeff previously served at the Small Business Center at Catawba Valley Community College. In 2021, Jeff was recognized as the North Carolina Small Business Director of the Year. Jeff has earned a bachelor's in business administration from the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill and an MBA with a focus in operations from the University of Maryland. Jeff, how are you doing today?
Hey, Phil, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on your podcast.
Great to see you again. I was introduced to MSC some time ago when it was known as the Hosiery Technology Center. You have evolved a bit over the years from the nature of that name. I know I can still see a lot of specialized sock developments coming through there, but can you give us a little bit of background on what the organization has been to the industry over the years?
I'm very happy to do that. Interestingly, my background was also in the sock industry as well, in that our family had a sock manufacturing business here in Western North Carolina. So we were actually one of the first customers of what was started as the Hosiery Technology Center. The Hosiery Technology Center started in 1990 when one of the local trade associations came to the community college and said, "Hey, we need assistance in training a workforce. Can you help us?" And the trade association partnered with Catawba Valley Community College to create what was then called the Hosiery Technology Center. And over time, things evolved, and the center started working in industries in addition to hosiery, so started taking on other categories. And by 2009, they changed the name of the organization to the Manufacturing Solutions Center, which is what we are today. In 2012, we moved from the Catawba Valley Community College campus in Hickory to a new building in Conover, North Carolina, which is just about 5 miles down the road from Hickory. And earlier this year in 2023, we opened our second building here on the same campus in Conover. So we've now got close to 100,000 square foot of space for the operations, and we're working with not only people in hosiery, but really all of textiles and apparel. We work with folks in the furniture industry. We do product development work in non-textiles as well. So things have really expanded since the early days as the Hosiery Technology Center.
So you talked a bit about your background as a family business in hosiery. Is that kind of what you had planned to continue to hang around with when you come through and you went to college and everything? What happened when you went to college and you got finished? How did your professional career evolve from that?
Well, actually, when I graduated from the University of North Carolina, actually I spent the first year and a half or so after college working in the family business, and then sort of realized that it would probably be healthy for me to work for some other people and do some other things before I decided to spend the rest of my career in the family business. And my father really encouraged me to do that, in that he thought it would be very healthy to see what other parts of the world look like, and just get a sense of what it is to work for different types of companies. So it was a very good experience. I ended up in the Washington, D.C. area,
Wow.
working actually for a small management consulting firm up there for about 6 years, and then ended up getting my MBA degree. It took 2 years to get the MBA degree from the University of Maryland before moving back to North Carolina and rejoining the family business in the early 1990s. Stuck with that, and actually, our company was approached by a private equity group in 2003 and made us at that point a very fair offer to purchase the company. And I actually stayed with the company to assist in transitioning it. But once private equity gets involved in the family business, at some point it looks very different from what you remember it, and at some point it's time to leave. And
Yeah.
I got to that point, and
Oh,
was doing some work, consulting work in the community for various manufacturers, and sort of started working with CVCC's Small Business Center, and had an opportunity to become director there in 2012. So spent time there before moving over to the Manufacturing Solutions Center last year in June of 2022.
so is your family business still up and running?
So the family business, after it was purchased by the private equity group, ultimately was sold a couple times and ended
Again.
up with a company called Gildan, which is a pretty
Yeah, oh yeah, right. I think we know that name a bit.
significant international player, and they initially made some nice investments in what was our old facility, but then unfortunately did some consolidating and shut it down. But I'm
Mm.
pleased to report that a lot of the people that worked with us at that point in time are still employed in the same location. It's just now a company called Synergy Labs, which I think
Oh,
you are also familiar with.
yeah.
And they do supplements and whatnot for pets. And they've actually put a lot of the people that worked for us back in the day to work there in that same facility. And they've done some nice improvements and investments to that area. So, it's interesting how it came full circle. And some of the people that I worked with back when it was a family business are still working in the same location.
Just like you had it planned out.
Not necessarily, but I'm sure things happen for a reason, right?
Yeah, yeah. So, talk about some of the exciting things that are happening at the Manufacturing Solutions Center now. I know you guys run a little bit of a business incubator, and we're engaged with some of the companies that have come through there. But man, there's some exciting things going on there these days.
As you said when you did the introduction, our mission is to support U.S. manufacturers and to help create and retain U.S. manufacturing jobs. We do that in a variety of different ways. Number one, we have an ISO accredited testing lab, so that if companies are trying to validate what their products can do, or they're trying to meet specific guidelines established by corporations or government regulations, we'll work with them and assist them as they're going through that testing process. And we serve as a third party lab to evaluate and provide results to them as that. We also do a lot of product development work. We've got 2 knitting labs here where we can do hosiery/sock product development work in small runs. And we also have what we call a fabric formation lab, where we've got equipment that can make larger garments and foundation wear and undergarments, shirts. We've got a seaming line that can finish those off. So if someone's interested in developing apparel lines or apparel products to manufacture here in the United States, we can assist them with the product development process. It's not our role to do the mass production. We sort of see ourselves as the middle step of going through the product development iterations, which a lot of manufacturers don't have the time to go back and forth and make sure they get it right. Our job is to help folks get those specs to a point where they can hand it over to a U.S. manufacturer and go into production. We also have a prototyping lab here with 3D printers, CNC routers, bandsaw and whatnot, so that if someone has a idea for a non-textile oriented product, we can help them with prototyping that and get them to a point where they can do some additional testing. As you mentioned, we have an incubator here on site for folks that are interested in making something here in the United States. We've had several companies come through there and have graduated out of our incubator and moved into our new building where they're now successful operating companies and have created over 50 jobs for our community. So we're currently talking to a few people about moving into our incubator, but we've got some space for folks who might be interested in making something here in the United States or finding ways to expand their product line here in the United States, provide technical assistance, help people with securing equipment, and we'll even help folks with marketing if that's what they need. We're sort of we look at ourselves as problem solvers and try to figure out what our customers need and help them with that. And finally, we also have a resource lab here where we maintain samples of U.S. textile products and other materials so that if someone is interested in developing a product and isn't sure what sort of materials are available or needs help in connecting to a manufacturer or supplier here in the United States, we can hold their hand and take them through that product development process and help them bring their product to life. So there are a lot of moving parts, but it's every day is sort of different and exciting. So it's a good place to be here.
Yeah, I know that again, you got your roots around hosiery and textile fabrics, but it's just interesting. I remember when I first went over there some time ago to see your furniture testing area,
Mhm.
and just to see the things that you do, like you got these arms that kind of beat up and down on the furniture to try to see how you wear it out. I mean, that seems like something that's always been there and it looks like you're still doing that today, right?
We are. We actually have a structural engineering area that's associated with our prototyping lab that does a lot of work with the furniture industry here in Western North Carolina, our part of the country. We still have a pretty thriving, strong furniture industry. So, we work very closely with some of the local furniture manufacturers. There's a group called BIFMA, the Business and Industry Furniture Manufacturing Association, that sets standards for strength of frames and other structural areas of furniture. So, you might walk through our facility and see a drop test going on where we're dropping 250 pounds of weight onto a furniture frame for 100,000 cycles, which could take 2 or 3 days to do. And you may well have seen that when you came through, Phil. But we'll also find ways to customize tests for people as well if they're just trying to validate some claims that they want to make regarding furniture or other products. So we've got some pretty creative people here that work very closely hand in hand with industry, trying to support their efforts. And we've got a really dedicated staff of 25 people that work here. So it's a real cool operation.
Finally, I'd like you to talk a bit about some of your role in the larger ecosystem. I mean, you're connected to some activities that are going on more broadly. I think that kind of helps the whole kind of textile industry as far as workforce development and development of companies and various things. I'm referring to things like the Carolina Textile District and some of the other programs that are involved. And you guys are kind of very important to these things, as I've been aware of. Can you talk about some of those programs and the benefits of those?
Sure. Yeah, and we're all about partnering with other resources throughout the state. You and the MEP have been great partners to work with and have helped us connect to a lot of other partners. And within the textile industry, we've got strong partners as well. We work very closely with the Gaston College Textile Technology Center. We work very closely with the textile school there at North Carolina State. Here in Western North Carolina, we've got some strong partners. We're actually one of the founding members of something called the Carolina Textile District, which is a group of folks who primarily work in the cut and sew area here domestically. And they're a great partner, so that if somebody comes to us and is looking to, it might be an entrepreneur with an idea for an apparel product, we can work with the Carolina Textile District to hopefully identify a manufacturer that can help them start production on that particular product. We also partner with the Carolina Textile District on some training areas. We actually help them with a program called the Sewn Goods Workshop, where we will take entrepreneurs and help them understand the production process and how to go about connecting to manufacturers and help them identify the appropriate materials to make the products that they're working on. And we also have a group in Morganton, North Carolina, that we do a lot of partnering with, called the Industrial Commons. One of their focuses is on green manufacturing and creating a circular textile economy where we focus on recycles and recycling yarns and creating products with recycled yarn. So we work with them. We have worked with them. We continue to work with them on a variety of different projects. Appreciate the support that you and the MEP have provided, and that we've tried to increase the amount of funding we can get through some federal grants that would allow us to continue to accelerate that. So, North Carolina still really has a strong textile industry, as I know that Phil. North Carolina, from a footprint perspective, is still a strong manufacturing state, probably more so than many states. When we look at, our county and the surrounding counties, probably close to between 20 to 25% of the jobs in our area are manufacturing jobs, which is, not as much as it was 15 years ago, but still, if you look around the state and the rest of the country, it's still a very large number. So we continue to play an important role here, and we're busy and excited about opportunities as we move forward.
Yeah, that's one of the things you touched on it all already, but the future is still pretty bright around textile development. I mean, it's just to see some of the amazing things that are coming out of your area. I mean, people are doing things like delivering medicine through textiles and just all kinds of innovative things. And I guess I think we all kind of sometimes get caught up in the notion that we don't have any textile industry or is dying and it's not going to be around and all of that. But that's pretty contrary to what is really going on, right?
Well, it's evolving. I mean, most people think of textiles as maybe the T-shirt that they're wearing or the jeans that they might be wearing, but it really touches industries from automotive to aerospace to a variety of different industries. And as you mentioned, there's a real trend toward what we would call smart textiles, where people are finding ways to integrate anything from medicine to various technology into textiles these days. So it's really only limited by our imagination at this point in time. You sort of reference one of the companies that was founded in our incubator, company called Textel, which has now evolved into the name Clothing 2.0. And they came up with a patented process to infuse medicine into their fabric, so that the thought process being, why take an aspirin for a sore elbow when I can put a elbow brace with medicine pain reliever in the fabric right there on the elbow, so it's going to go really hit the place where my pain is. And they've been very, very successful with their process. So Clothing 2.0. Another thing that a real exciting part of the story that we've had here at the Manufacturing Solution Center, and we talked some about the incubator that we have here on site. The 4 companies that have graduated most recently from our incubator, the founders from those companies all came from outside of North Carolina, but recognize that the resources here in North Carolina and the technical support that we could provide to them here at the Manufacturing Solutions Center made them want to move here, start their companies here, and now they're staying here because of the workforce that they have access to, the technical support they have access to, and the ecosystem that we've created here, where we've got a lot of retailers that come through here. We have a lot of major brands that come through here, whether it be for training, whether it be just to get technical assistance. So there's a real business development positive aspect that's been generated just by them working and operating here in the Manufacturing Solutions Center.
Yeah, that's all so great to hear. So I've been speaking with Jeff Newville. He's the director of the Manufacturing Solutions Center in Hickory, North Carolina. But you guys serve worldwide. I mean, there's I've always heard of a lot of the large manufacturing companies, all of the brand names that we wear and see. A lot of the development of some of those products has come through the center, right?
It has, and our footprint extends beyond North Carolina because we also receive federal funds. We've in the last 10 years we worked with companies in every state throughout the country. Probably not probably the majority of them are here in North Carolina, but we're not limited to working with just companies in North Carolina. And we believe that if we work with somebody in a different part of the country, ultimately there's going to be a benefit to a company in North Carolina. Perhaps they're going to buy yarn or fabric from a North Carolina manufacturer. Perhaps they'll buy packaging from a North Carolina manufacturer. There's going to be some connection that'll ultimately have a positive for our North Carolina economy.
Well, Jeff, we're grateful to have the MSC as a long-term partner of the North Carolina Manufacturing Extension Partnership. And again, we appreciate your time that you're giving us today to talk a bit about it. And again, look forward to seeing you again soon. Thanks, Jeff.
Well, I appreciate you having me on, and encourage folks to go to our website at manufacturingsolutioncenter.org to learn more about us.
And go buy some stocks. Yeah,
buy some socks and some stocks.
Thank you for joining today's Clocking In, Voices of NC Manufacturing. This podcast is brought to you by NC State's College of Engineering, the North Carolina Manufacturing Extension Partnership, and Industry Expansion Solutions. If you'd like to learn more about the solutions NCMEP offers, go to www.ncmep.org. Want to listen to previous Clocking In podcasts? Go to ncmep.org/clockingin.